Canadian origin Chinook salmon inhabiting the Yukon River are the northernmost, largest, and longest migrating of their species in the world. Since the 1980s, the population has declined to less than 10% of its historical average. The Dawson District Renewable Resources Council have carried out Chinook salmon restoration projects since the early 1990s. In the summer of 2004, large numbers of juvenile Chinook salmon were observed in isolated pools along the Tr'ondëk River. Every summer since, the Dawson District Renewable Resources Council has actively run programs to capture and then restore salmon fry stranded in these isolated pools. Starting in the summer of 2023, the Dawson District Renewable Resources Council have expanded the program to include involvement of local youth to empower the next generation of salmon advocates. Youth involved in the program collaborate with Indigenous leaders and salmon experts to better understand the cultural significance and challenges facing Yukon River Chinook salmon.
This area is actually called an avulsion, where the high water is slowly eroding away a new channel. When the water recedes, they get stuck in these pools, and that's why we're here rescuing them. And part of this project too is IDing the different fish, and we have mentors that join the program too and work with the youth to teach them a bit about the different species of fish and the water ecosystem. So that's a big part of the project as well.
We take them out of the little pools and stuff and find them because they can't find their way to the river on their own. So we're kind of giving them like a little nudge and helping them get to where they're supposed to be, so then they can go back to like where they came from and spawn more eggs and continue the salmon cycle.
Salmon coming from our river has always been cool to me, and I think it's really sad that we won't have any salmon anymore, or that they're declining, and we won't, someday we might not even be able to fish them out of our river. And that's really sad because it's part of a lot of people's lives, and even just a yummy meal on the table.
Yes, I think it's really important to spread the word about the struggles salmon are having. A lot of people feel they can't do anything about the situation to help, and I think just talking about it more and getting more people interested in the issue is really important.
For me, to lose salmon would mean a loss of culture, it would mean a loss of identity, and it would also mean a loss of a historically very important food source for the Tr'ondëk Hwëch'in people and for the people of Dawson City and all the people along the Yukon River.
They bring people together, they bring family together. It's really nice to just go out to camp for a couple weeks at a time and just be with your family. And there used to be so many fish, our smoke shacks used to be 2 times the size they are now. We used to get hundreds of fish. There's been a lot of time to fix the problem, but over the years, it's only gotten worse. And in that time, they could have used that time to bring salmon back.
Since time immemorial, Chinook salmon were harvested by Yukon Indigenous Peoples. Nearly all Yukon Indigenous peoples, including the Tr'ondëk Hwëch'in, have voluntarily withdrawn from subsistence harvesting of Chinook salmon. First Fish Camp is hosted every summer by the Tr'ondëk Hwëch'in. It is a way for people to learn about Tr'ondëk Hwëch'in heritage and traditions through harvest, crafting, stories, and song. Salmon used at the camp are shipped in from the Taku River, a watershed far away that still supports a healthy salmon population. In 2024, youth participants in the Dawson Renewable Resources Council Salmon Restoration Program attended the camp.
Inhabiting. Welcome to Fish Camp. It's really sad that I don't get to eat salmon anymore. Provide us with a miracle and give us our salmon back, hopefully one day, to continue to learn about it, because they can still learn about the stories from our elders, like my mom. She spent so many years working in fish and wildlife, salmon, even though we can't have it anymore. And those traditions still need to be taught, because what if they do come back one day, right? If that miracle ever happens.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the fish come back like it used to one time. Cut fish, smoke it, so we could teach our youth how our ancestry used to.
Well, salmon are hugely important both ecologically and culturally here in the Yukon. As they migrate up the river, the 1,200 miles from the ocean, they bring a tremendous amount of extra nutrients from the sea up into the interior, which isn't particularly biologically productive compared to the ocean. There wouldn't be people living here if it weren't for salmon. So the Tr'ondëk Hwëch'in say for sure that it's only the salmon that keeps them here alive. People that come up the Yukon River, and people here would trap them at the mouth of the Klondike, and it was a reliable source of food for millennia, fundamental to all of the First Nations people in the Yukon.
Those few salmon, we want to be able to try and restore our salmon populations, but it's difficult to know if that will ever take place. The joy that it brings, the happiness that it brings, and the bonding, sharing the traditional knowledge and the traditional stories, and passing down traditional laws. It's pretty disheartening to know that we may never be able to have Chinook salmon again. It's really important to teach our youth about salmon and how high the value is. Older elders have said, and many elders who passed away now have always stressed that we need to continue to teach our children about the land and the water and the food that we rely on from the land and the rivers. So it's important to continue to teach our youth.
It is the hope of the Tr'ondëk Hwëch'in and the Dawson Renewable Resources Council that steadfast advocacy and restoration efforts will one day result in the return of healthy Chinook salmon stocks to the Yukon and Klondike River watersheds. As time goes on, this remarkable species continues to face regional and global challenges that continue to test its resiliency. They deserve our attention and protection. Without it, they are likely to perish and never return.